Hello, everyone. My name is Anshul. Greetings of the day. Today, we are going to talk about PR Crisis Analyzer. My team members are Daniel, Lee, Max, and our group number is 18. So, talking about the outline of this presentation, covering up the goals, motivation, then we'll talk about management tools, development cycle, development plan, procedures and configurations, types of testing that we implemented, and uh, talking about both the phases, discussing a little bit about the demo, and what kind of future advancements to expect. So, as we know that social media is an growing marketing tool, and uh, with all the advantages that it comes up with, it has a potential of harming one's social identity. One bad tweet could put a person into a spot where it's hard to explain um, his social stand. Companies, politicians, actors, and various other professionals are using hiring social professionals to handle their social account. Analyzing such a data is therefore a requirement and an essentiality. PR crisis software is used to analyze the Twitter data to identify the general public response to a particular tweet, uh, the most recent tweet in this case. Motivation for this project was the availability of not just the APIs, but also ongoing demand in the market. But as the APIs were accessible freely, we were able to move on with this project. We use various management tools like GitLab for version control, bug tracking, and task management. We used GitLab for event wiki. All the project documentation was done using WordPress for creating a website. And for the group meetings, we use Zoom and Skype. Uh, we use the agile development methodology and also test-driven methodology. We tested various available APIs for data availability and information access. The code was properly documented so that the team can collaborate easily. We use GRASP GUI principle for better designing the system so that agile modeling uh, methodology can be implemented effectively. Uh, Verification and validation of code and code walkthroughs helped to maintain the code standards. Further would be discussed by Max.
Start. Development plan tools and techniques. In the back end, we are using Twitter API and IBM Watson tone analyzer to support our software. We are using Python as the development language, and we are using PyCharm as our development IDE. And in the front end, we're using Flask framework to build our user interface based on Python, and we're using Heroku for our web service. Uh, Basically, our website is deployed on Heroku. The next part is the procedures and the configurations. Basically, we have the configuration for the Twitter API and the IBM Watson API. Those are similar. Like you have to create an account and you get authentication, which is critical from the cloud, and then you can use it. The configuration for the Heroku is more simple, but a little bit more different because you have to set up for Heroku. Since that's because you have to let the Heroku service know where to start your program. The next is the type of the testing implemented. We are implemented facility testing, recovery testing, and documentary testing, which will be in the next slide. For the facility testing, it's basically we check if our project or our system match the requirement we need. And for the recovery test, like we are a web-based system, so basically we, web connection is not very stable. We have to check once there is a, disconnection, how much time do we have to spend to recover it. And the documentation test is basically we try to figure out if our document guide or user guide is friendly enough for our user to use and helpful. The next part is the user story and the user cases. Uh, as you can see in the slides, the most critical feature of the system, also the most critical requirements are actually achieved. For example, our user can get the data from their Twitter account and also others' Twitter account, and they can use the data, analyze it, and find out the potential troller. Um, however, the we also want to offer some regular basis, basically some guidelines to our user, but that's not implemented. Maybe with more iteration we can do that in the future. For the inception phase one, for the inception phase, basically we try to identify the requirement exactly, and then we try to figure out what kind of the technology we can use and the APIs more specifically we can use to achieve the requirement, and then we build the abstract of the system, basically the hierarchy of the system, to help us better understanding of the software we are developing, and then we list the most biggest issues we have right now, which is getting the social media data. Actually, I have mentioned that because in the inception phase, we actually failed in with the Facebook API. We tried it, but it failed because some law problem related to Facebook in 2018 caused the Facebook shut down its API, like halfway shut down, but it's not functional anymore.
Greetings, my name is Daniel and I will continue with this presentation. So in phase one, after phase one, we identified that the biggest risk was working with the Facebook API because of all the restrictions imposed by the data leaking scandal faced by the company in 2018. So we had no other option but to switch to another API, and we chose the Twitter API for that. It's better, but there are challenges in the free, especially if you're using the free version. For example, it's not easy to get replies and comments for a single tweet, and the amount of data is somehow limited sometimes. But nonetheless, we managed to create a console-based version of the system's main functionality, which is to identify a possible PR crisis. This version gets data from Twitter API and sends it to IBM Watson Tone Analyzer for sentiment analysis of the tweet and its replies. So in phase two, we deployed the application to Heroku platform. Having the application deployed in the cloud made it more stable and reliable because Heroku provides continuous availability, and quick recovery in the event of a crash or a bad deployment. It means it's easy to roll back to the previously deployed version. And we continued with the development of the functionalities. Here we have a glance view of various stages of development. So like I mentioned in phase one, we tested social media APIs and Facebook and Twitter. So, and also Watson Tone Analyzer. We finally selected the Twitter API. We continued with documentation and we came up with a proof of concept. In phase two, we improved reliability by deploying to Heroku. We modified documentation to reflect the changes we made, especially the change of the API, and we created a more structured output. And as for future advancements for this system, we can talk about using streaming Twitter API and generating reports, as well as working on the the functionalities that were not developed. Here we have a demonstration, a demo of the system. So we are using the profile of Donald Trump, and we can see Twitters that he posted and replies to it, and the tones that come with each tweet and each reply. And finally, here we can see screenshot of the IDE PyCharm and results that we could collect from the Watson tone analyzer. Thank you.
With the growing use of social media not just for communicating with their friends and loved ones, but also as a marketing tool, companies, politicians, and various other professions use social media to communicate with society. There's another one such new profession, YouTubers or online content creators who can use such a software to identify whether their content is liked by people. Not only that, the popular people can only have use of such a software. It can also be used by people who are interested in making their social presence. Although this software is working and with a little touch can turn out very nice, there are still many areas for improvement, such as the use of the Twitter Premium String API will provide us access to much more data. The errors in some of the retweets can be adjusted by using large amount of result. Not only, but the analysis can be improved by using IBM Analytics. Overall, the development process was fun and we loved working as a team. The organized development approach and agile modeling structure helped us making quick changes wherever they were needed. The prototype phase 2 creates a solid background for future improvements. The software is easily accessible thanks to Heroku. The performance of Watson tone analyzer is really nice and helpful in identifying the overall tone of the system quite accurately. We are welcome to your constructive criticism. Thank you for your precious time.